So, in today's video, we're going to talk about Trump's equity push. Now, let me ask you a question. Have you ever bought something expensive and thought, maybe I should own a part of the company that made it? That's essentially what the US government is planning right now. So, basically, the US government spends a huge amount of money every year on defense companies. Now, the Trump administrative officials are saying, instead of just buying rockets and weapons, why don't we own a part of these companies? Well, this idea shocked a lot of people, especially in the defense world. And for Elon Musk's SpaceX, it could be a nightmare. Because Musk has built his company in a way that avoids outside control. In short, he doesn't like government interfering in his business. So, let us look into this in a broader way. As the Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick recently said on CNBC that the current way of paying for weapons is too much of a giveaway. Basically, he means the government spends money, companies get rich, and taxpayers don't get much back beyond the weapons. He mentioned that Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth and Undersecretary Stephen Feinberg are already working on this idea. And this didn't come out of thin air. Just before this, the government gave Intel a $5.7 billion grant under the CHIPS Act. But instead of just handing over money, Trump's team converted those grants into a 10% government stake in Intel. So, if you still don't get it, let me make it very simple. Under the CHIPS Act, passed earlier during Biden's term, Intel was promised billions of dollars in grants to build semiconductor factories in the US. Normally, a grant is just free money for a specific purpose. The company doesn't have to pay it back. But when Trump's team came in, they said, "We don't just want to hand you money. We want something in return." So instead of clawing the money back, they converted the grants into equity, meaning the US government now owns about 10% of the Intel company. This method were different from what they did in past, like the US government has taken ownership in companies, but only when those companies were in deep trouble. For example, during the Great Recession that's happened in 2008 to 2009, the government helped the failing banks and the company named General Motors. In return, they took equity stakes. For GM, the government owned 61% at one point. So in these cases, it was just a rescue program when big companies got hit by rock bottom. But here, Trump is talking about taking ownership in companies that are not failing at all. In fact, companies like SpaceX, Boeing, and Lockheed Martin are financially strong. That's why experts like Todd Harrison from the American Enterprise Institute are asking, does the government even have legal power to do this with healthy companies? Well, I would like to say that Trump might be targeting SpaceX more when compared to other companies. The reason why I said this because some people close to Trump, like Steve Bannon, have suggested using the Defense Production Act to take over SpaceX. The choice of words he used here is important to note, as he said about taking over SpaceX, like he's implying that the whole SpaceX should be government-owned. So, in short, if Trump pushes harder, big defense contractors may face enormous pressure. Some might give in, some might resist, and some may sue. For SpaceX, though, Musk has strong cards. He doesn't need government money. He controls the company tightly. The Pentagon relies heavily on his rockets. That means he can probably say no without much risk. But even if SpaceX avoids it, the bigger picture is clear. Trump's is trying to change how defense spending works, from just paying for weapons to also trying to profit from the companies that build them.